Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. This week's top 10 list is the top 10 favorite notes from each denomination. These are all different denominations. Every note's going to be a different denomination, and it may not necessarily be my favorite note overall from that denomination, but it is the favorite note that I actually own. So yeah, trying to figure out how to put that into terms. First I was just going to do top 10 denominations, and I came up with how many different denomination notes that I have, and I'm like, okay, there's 10, that'll work. But then I thought, well, which notes am I going to use? And that's kind of what brought out this particular idea. So the top 10 notes from each denomination that I actually own. So yes, these are all real notes. Number 10, and as far as the numbering, I just literally went by denomination, so not necessarily one better than the other or anything like that. Number 10, for $1 notes, I chose the $1 Black Eagle. One of the more iconic notes, a Black Eagle like this, especially in good condition, a very impressive note. It's one of the few notes that actually has two presidents on it. You can see it's got Lincoln and it's got Grant on there. The 1899 silver certificate, the $1 Black Eagle, that's the front there. That's the back there. These are readily available. They're fairly easy to get a hold of, and they're pretty impressive when they're in good shape. So that is number 10 on my list, the $1 Black Eagle from 1899. Number 9, getting a little older and a little more valuable. And of course, like I said, these aren't necessarily the most valuable notes that I own, or are they? The $2 note that makes my list is the $2 Lazy Deuce. This is the first from the first charter of national currency. This is, I believe it's 1863, 1865, 1865, I think is what it says there. Yep, 1865 right there, August 15th, 1865. The $2 Lazy Deuce, national currency. This is from the American National Bank of Providence, Rhode Island. Very, very cool note. Obviously, it's called the Lazy Deuce because you've got the giant numeral laying on its side. The Lazy Deuce, take a look at the back. Now, another thing that's cool about Lazy Deuce and all nationals is they have the seal for the U.S. on one side and the seal for the particular state that they are representing on the other. You can see this particular one is Rhode Island. So yeah, you can collect one from each state at the time. That is number 9 on my list. My national banknote, $2 Lazy Deuce. That represents the $2 denomination. Number 8, going with a $5 denomination. Any guesses? I went with the educational 1896 $5 educational note. Now, this was a tough call. I really had a tough choice between this and the Chief, and I decided I was going to go with this one. How do you not have one of the educational notes in a list like this? And when it came down to it, this was the troublemaker note. This is the note that caused the problems. So yeah, this one edged out the Chief just by a little bit. And what do I say about the troublemaker note here? It's the troublemaker note because this particular note is why the entire educational series got yanked in the first place. You can just see all the incredible artwork on here. But one of the things that you are going to notice is that the figures in the center, they forgot to get dressed. And the American people said, we will not carry pornography in our pockets, and demanded these notes all get repealed, thus bringing out the 1899 series. So the $5 note from the 1896 educational series, take a peek at the back there, really cool note. The problem child note of the series, that is number 8 on my list, and this represents $5 notes, $5 silver certificate from 1896. Number 7, going to a $10 note. I thought about using the Jackass note. I thought about using the poker chip, but when it comes down to cool $10 notes, I went with the 1907 Bison. This is just such a neat note. It is a legal tender, United States note, a legal tender note. It has the red seal, has the red ink. To me, that is just really cool. You've got the Bison front and center. You've got Lewis and Clark on this particular note. Such an iconic Americana note. Take a peek at the back there. Yeah, the $10 did I say 1907? $10.19, here we'll zoom in on that, 1901, $10 1901 legal tender, the Bison note. That is number 7 on my list. Number 6, going with a $20 bill now, and if you guys know me, you know what 20 I'm bringing out. The first note I ever got, this is my $20 gold certificate, a 1922 $20 gold certificate. It is a large size note. It has a gold seal. It's a $20 note. It features George Washington. It says in gold coin on the note itself. And check out the back. You just have this bright orange, bright gold, however you want to call it, on the back like that. Such a cool note. This was the note that got it all started for me. The only thing that would actually replace this in the list is if I ever got one of the Technicolor notes, and those can be $3 to $4 grand easy. So I don't plan on getting one anytime soon, but I do plan on getting one eventually. This is the 1922 $20 gold certificate, the representative of the $20 bracket in my particular list. 10987, that's number 6. Number 5, well, I knocked out the 20. What's next? It's got to be the 50. Which 50? I'll let you think about it. Bet you didn't guess this one. This is my 1779 $50 colonial note. This one is, well, 1779. This is not a colonial. This is continental, $50 continental. The bearer is entitled to receive 50 Spanish milled dollars or an equal sum in gold or silver according to the resolution of Congress of the 14th January 1779. Yeah, 1779. And yes, it does say United States. I mean, how cool is that? It's the serial number is handwritten, the note is hand signed. Taking a peek at the back, they used leaves as the anti-counterfeiting measure. 1779 right there. Yeah, this is easily the coolest $50 note I have in my collection. 1779 $50 note. All right, 109,876, that's 5. Number 4, going up to the 100. Which $100 bill did I choose? I chose the Red Seal, 1966 Red Seal $100 bill. Now, the Legal Tender Act said that we had to have so much money in legal tenders circulating. And by 1966, apparently they did an inventory, and the ones, the twos, and the fives that were, well, the twos and the fives, I should say, because the one was only in Puerto Rico. But when you look at the $2 and the $5 notes, they had to print some more money to meet that obligation. So they didn't print 10s or 20s. They went straight to the 100. You have the 1966 and the 1966A Red Seal $100 notes. These are one of my favorite $100 notes that you can get because, first and foremost, they're cool with that bright red seal. But secondly, they're affordable. They're very, very affordable. You can get these for under $200 in decent shape. I think I paid $140 for this particular one. What do you have in the back? $160, I think, and I talked them down to $140. I mean, yeah, these are easy notes to add to your collection, and what a unique piece to add in. Like I said, they made them in 2 series, 1966, 1966A. So yeah, they are fairly recent and easy to add to your collection. So I'd pick one of these up if I were you. These are really, really cool notes to have. My favorite 100 in my collection. Number 3 in my list. Well, that was 100. What are we going with next? Obviously, we're going with a $500 note. Now, I was torn between this and my $500 Confederate note, and I decided I was going to go with this because my $500 Confederate note is technically not from the United States. It's from the Confederate States. So since all of these notes have been United States notes, I decided to go with my $500. Now, my $500 note is also cool in the respect that it is the light green seal. You can see light green right here. It is graded, and when you zoom in on this, you can see that's a pretty hefty crease there, and it's got creases this way. Got creases here. You can see the top isn't in the greatest of shape. And yet they gave it a 30. I mean, I'm very happy with that. I can't complain at all. On the back, once again, you can see there's three major folds there. But they still call it a 30. And yeah, that's what it was priced at when I bought it. And you know these are going for another $500 more than that. No, they're going for $1,500, $1,600 without a problem. So yeah, when it comes to $500 notes, this is my favorite $500 note in my collection. Number 2. If that was the 500, here is the $1,000 bill. $1,000 bill, this particular one is a 1934A. A 1934A small head $1,000 bill. Yes, this is the real deal. That alone is cool. Most people didn't realize we had 500s or $1,000 notes to circulate. Now, the back of this note isn't that impressive because it wasn't necessarily designed to be in circulation. It was more designed for bank-to-bank transfers, but you could go to the bank and you were able to get these if they happen to have them on hand. One of the cooler notes that you're going to have, these are hot right now. When I got mine, you can see the price on the back says $1,675. These are going for about $1,000 more than that now. These are probably $2,700. If you can find one of these, I'd add it to your list before it breaks that $3,000 level. Just another cool note to have. Clearly my favorite $1,000 bill. So that was number 2. What's number 1 on my list? Do I have a denomination higher than 1,000? That's not a replica? Yes, I do. This is my 1900 $10,000 gold certificate. The $10,000 gold certificate from 1900. You can see this is dated 1916. The note itself is 1900, though. You can see in the upper top, March 14th, 1900. Now, this does have damage here, and this note, as you can see on the back, was redeemed. That's what these holes are in it. But more importantly, check out this. You can see the burn damage, the smoke damage on this. The $10,000 gold certificates were supposed to be redeemed by 1933, and all of them were redeemed because we were getting off the gold standard. You weren't allowed to have gold. You weren't allowed to redeem stuff for gold as of the 1933 laws. So all of these were turned in, all of these were collected, and they were all stored at the post office in Washington, D.C. In 1935, that post office caught fire, and someone knew these notes were in there, and they ran up to the 6th floor, opened the window, and started throwing these notes out the window to save them. So imagine that. The building is on fire, and there are $10,000 bills fluttering down to the streets. People did a mad dash to get all of these, and then went to the banks the next day to try to redeem them for $10,000, and found that, obviously, they were no longer redeemable. That doesn't mean that it's not a cool note. The only way that you can have one of these notes, like I said, all of the notes were redeemed. So the only way you're going to have one of these notes is if you have one of the notes that came out of that 6th-story window. That's how these got out into the public. Yeah, such a cool story on a $10,000 bill. It's probably, in this condition, probably only worth $1,500, $2,000, somewhere like that. Even though it's a $10,000 bill, and even though it's real. So, that is my favorite notes from each denomination. If you agree with my list, well, it's kind of tough to agree or disagree because you don't know everything in my collection. There may be a note that you like more that I don't have in my collection. Yeah, that's what I've got for you guys this week. If you have an idea for a list, go ahead and put that down in the comments. If I can make a list out of it, I will give you credit as well. If you liked what you see, make sure to hit that like button. If you learned anything new, please hit that like button as well. Guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next week.